Welcome, beautiful friends. Today's practice is all about slowing things down. We'll have just several poses sprinkled in with a little bit of restorative and ending with a bit of guided meditation so that we can invite stillness in and really tune into what's going on in our minds, our bodies, and our heart. Hope you enjoy this practice. Having a pair of yoga blocks, a blanket, and even a yoga strap or a belt can come in handy for you today. We'll begin in reclined supported pose. So if you have your pair of blocks, let's get those ready. You can form them in the shape of an L, and with your bolster, or if you have a very firm pillow at home, that can work as well. We'll lay our bolster on top of our blocks and seat ourselves just in front. I also recommend having a blanket by your side for additional support in some restorative poses or for some comfort. Now that we've prepared our setup, let's gradually settle into the pose. Feel free to place the soles of your feet onto the floor and rest your knees onto each other, or even extend your legs fully in front of you. Adjusting any props to make yourself feel comfortable. Arms can rest to either side. Let's begin to invite stillness into our bodies and into our minds as we continue to settle into the posture, bringing awareness to your breath, slowing it down. Leaving all the thoughts and the demands of the day to be left aside. I invite you to extend your exhalation just a bit more. We'll come to seated by pushing our hands into the earth and raising our torso up. We'll move into table pose and place our props aside. Bending knees, feet placed hip distance apart. We'll place our hands behind us with our fingers pointing inward. We'll begin to slightly lean ourselves back as we lift our chest. Slowly begin to lift your hips up towards the ceiling on your next in-breath. Rising up to the height that feels comfortable for your body today. Pressing through our feet as we engage through our thighs and our buttocks. Also pressing our hands into the earth as we lift our sternum up towards the sky, allowing your neck to stay in line with your spine, visualizing the line that you're creating from your head, neck, shoulders, all the way to your knees. Inviting your strength as you breathe deep in this pose for several breath cycles. And on the next in-breath, we'll lower ourselves back down and taking a moment to rest. Taking several breaths breaths before we continue. We'll move into a restorative version of butterfly. Let's bring the soles of our feet together in front of you, placing them at a distance that feels comfortable for your body. You can hold on to your feet or your ankles and gently raise our legs up and down just to loosen up our hips a bit, feeling your sit bones in contact with the earth. We'll lift and lengthen our spine on our next breath in, taking several breaths in butterfly. As we shift into the restorative version of butterfly pose into a forward bend, I invite you, if you have sensitive knees, to place a pair of yoga blocks just below either knee. These blocks could easily be pillows or books that you have around your house. Making sure that you're comfortable, you can even move your feet further away from your body as we prepare to come into a forward fold from here, which will hold for a brief time. So placing one or two blocks in front of or just behind your feet, playing around with the height that feels most comfortable for you. Breathing in, spine long. Breathing out, we'll hinge forward from our hips, walking our hands and placing our head onto our blocks. Allowing with your breath to settle into the pose, releasing any tension with every out breath from your shoulders, hips, and allowing your head to rest comfortably, feeling fully supported by the props. Taking a moment to find the stillness, turning inward. Bringing awareness to your breath and experiencing how your body feels your breath. How do you feel your breath in your back body? Wonderful. We'll slowly rise up and return into seated. With knees hip distance apart, we'll move into half circle with a yoga block on hand. We'll step our right leg out to the side, foot flat onto the floor and toes pointing forward. It's optional to use the block. We can place that just below your left shoulder. Next breath in, let's sweep our right arm up towards the sky and overhead as we rest our left hand onto our block. Let's press our hips forward and begin to arch our spine and lower our head back down. Taking several breaths here to breathe into your side body. Feeling the expansion through your ribs, opening. Also pushing through the top of your back foot. Next, in-breath, lowering our arm back down, and exhale as we return our knee back to center. We're going to balance that out on our second side. Stepping your left leg out, foot flat onto the floor, toes forward. Yoga block placed below your right shoulder. Lift our left arm upwards and overhead on our next in-breath. Hips pressing forward, pushing away from the floor with the top of your back foot. Arching spine back, lowering head comfortably down. Feeling the sensations of your breath through your side body. Couple more breaths here. And then on your next in-breath, lifting left arm up and exhale back to center. We'll take a moment in child's pose to reset and relax our bodies. Toes can touch, knees can spread out to the distance that feels good for you. We'll lower our hips down and having a block handy if you prefer to rest your forehead onto. We can walk our hands forward to come into extended child's pose, lowering our forehead down onto the yoga block or onto your mat directly. Or feel free to move your arms towards either side of your body, palms up. Taking some deep breaths here. Realizing all the positive effort you've been making during this practice. Placing hands to either side, we'll rise back up and prepare for relaxation. On your next breath in, gently drawing your shoulders up towards your ears and relaxing shoulders back down on the exhale. Repeating that a couple times just to release any additional tension. Feel free to bring any props to use for your final relaxation. You could use either a rolled blanket or your yoga blocks or a bolster, pillow underneath your knees for additional support. A blanket underneath your head to also support your neck is really a cozy option. Lastly, an eye pillow is another great option to rest over your eyes, blocking out light and inviting the relaxation response. Lowering down into your final relaxation and adjusting your props. Shifting your body to get as comfortable as you can. Inviting the natural force of gravity. Now that you've made yourself as comfortable as possible, begin to bring awareness to your natural breath. We'll begin to gently shift awareness to different parts of the body, one after the other. Just allow your body to relax and follow your breath from part to part. Brow center. Pit of the throat. Right shoulder. Elbow. Wrist. Thumb. Index finger. middle finger, ring finger, and little finger, wrist, elbow, shoulder, pit of the throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger, wrist, elbow, shoulder, pit of the throat, middle of the chest, right side of the chest, middle of the chest, left side of the chest, middle of the chest, navel point, middle of the pubic bone, right hip, knee, ankle, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe, ankle, knee, hip, middle of the pubic bone, left hip, knee, ankle, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe, ankle, knee, hip, middle of the pubic bone, navel point, middle of the chest, pit of the throat, and back to the brow center. Resting in complete stillness and silence. As you slowly begin to bring awareness back into your body, slowly rolling to one side. When you're ready, slowly rising up into seated. Hands towards our heart center. May you feel at ease and fully relaxed.